Alexandria. I am in my tent. I've got my hot cocoa beside me. I've got my fruits and breads and everything good to eat here in my picnic basket. A lantern, and my tent has little cutouts so that I can see the stars above. And I'm looking back here, leaning back in my tent. Ooh, I can see all the constellations. I love it. Cassiopeia being my favorite, guarded by Orion's belt, and I love seeing the Seven Sisters on top of the back of the Big Dipper, our mother bear. And we've got the starlight above us. And it's been a while since I've done an episode of Tuck In and Chill with you guys outdoors. And I thought I'd really like to do that because July, what better month is there? Things are the warmest they're going to be where I'm living, to go out and have a good time and go camping with my friends. So here we are, and getting ready to do this. So this is tonight's Tuck In and Chill. Good evening, my lovely M-Souls, to a new edition of Tuck In and Chill. Let's hang out together under the stars in spirit. And this dark and quiet Friday night, it's nice and calm. It's not too hot. Tiny bit of fresh breeze going by. Not a lot, but a little bit, helping it be a little more comfortable. And while I attempt to keep you entertained with a never heard before story on the water, or at least it hasn't been heard online that I know of very often. And this is by special request of Hero Flame, who requested that I do an eerie or spooky story set on the water. So let me get comfy here and get ready to listen to a newly rediscovered it's a public domain, no copyright, eerie story, and that I'm within my rights to read it to you. It is not mine. I did not write it. And just to give credit where credit is due, and I'll also put this information in the episode description area later, but it's a scary story by featured by Dr. Alexandria Sesman, an award-winning author, and she found it and placed it in a public domain page under a story in the Pacific classified as a horror story, free from public domain, and written by someone named, I think it's Leo, but I have the information and the links for you guys. I'll put them in the episode commentary, the descriptors later. But just know I'm not swiping this off anybody. I didn't write it. I'm just going to voice it over. Here we go. This is called The Voice in the Night by William Hope Hodgson. So that's the author of this story, William Hope Hodgson. Okay, now before I begin, make sure that if you haven't hydrated yourself today, please get a glass of water, hot or cold. You can have a tea, coffee, whatever. Well, maybe not coffee. Something that's hydrating to you, not to nag. Today I'm doing something very different. I have here a black tea turned into an iced tea with red bean. Red bean, I find, is very sweet and with milk in it. And I'm going to have that as my treat today. But don't worry, my water bottle is right beside me and my cup of ice is beside that too. I'm all set up to be comfy and sit a spell. Now, I started the Tuck In and Chills hoping to help you get some rest and relaxation, if not a meditation, just an adult sleep story, if you will, something to help you drift off. So, in best practices, if you can get into a comfy position wherever you are, and a place where you will not be disturbed by others if possible, I'm going to ask you to just take a few long, slow, deep breaths as you either close your eyes, or if you'd rather, you can focus on the stars passing by above my tent, or you can close your eyes and focus on my voice, or to help you let go of all of the things of the day that might be keeping you anxious, or might be keeping you upset, or might be keeping you just too alert. Focus on a blank spot somewhere in your room, somewhere that's restful, something that you like to look at, and try to just focus on that for a while I tell my story. If that doesn't work for you, remember you can watch my screen, and let all the worries of the day wash away. If you have headphones, that might also help, but I'm not playing any binaural beats. It's just me and the suburban ambiance outside my window. And it's just, if you'd like to, close your eyes. My voice to your ears. This is Venus Kalita in the middle of the Pacific on a dark and starless night. This is The Voice in the Night by William Hope Hodgson. It was a dark and starless night. We were becalmed in the northern Pacific. Our exact position I do not know, for the sun had been hidden during the course of a weary, breathless week by a thin haze which had seemed to float above us, about the height of our mastheads, whilst descending and shrouding the surrounding sea. With there being no wind, we had steadied the tiller, and I was the only man on deck. The crew, consisting of 2 men and a boy, were sleeping forward in their den, while Will, my friend, and the master of our little craft, was aft in his bunk on the port side of the little cabin. Suddenly, from out of the surrounding darkness, there came a hail. "Schooner ahoy!" The cry was so unexpected that I gave no immediate answer because of my surprise. It came again, a voice, curiously throaty and inhuman, calling from somewhere upon the dark sea away on our port's broadside. "Schooner ahoy!" "Hello?" I sang out, having gathered my wits somewhat. "What are you? What do you want?" "You need not be afraid," answered the queer voice, having probably noticed some trace of confusion in my tone. "I'm only an old man." The pause sounded odd, but was only afterward that it came back to me with any significance. Why don't you come alongside then?" I queried, somewhat snappishly, for I liked not his hinting at my having been a trifle shaken. I can't. I wouldn't be safe. The voice broke off, and there was silence. "What do you mean?" I asked, growing more and more astonished. "What's not safe? Where are you?" I listened for a moment, but there came no answer, and then, a sudden indefinite suspicion of I knew not what coming to me, I stepped swiftly to the binnacle and took out the lighted lamp. At the same time, I knocked on the deck with my heel to waken Will. Then I was back at the side, throwing the yellow funnel of light out into the silent immensely beyond our rail. As I did so, I heard a slight muffled cry, and then the sound of a splash, as though someone had dipped oars abruptly. Yet I cannot say with certainty that I saw anything, save it seemed to me that, with the first flash of the light, there had been something upon the waters, where now there was nothing. "Hello there," I called. "What foolery is this?" But there came only the indistinct sounds of a boat being pulled away into the night. Then I heard Will's voice from the direction of the after scuttle. "What's up, George?" "Come here, Will," I said. "What is it?" he asked, coming across the deck. I told him the queer thing that had happened. He put several questions. Then, after a moment's silence, he raised his hands to his lips and hailed, "Boat, ahoy!" From a long distance away there came back to us a faint reply, and my companion repeated his call, "Boat, ahoy!" Presently, after a short period of silence, there grew in our hearing the muffled sound of oars, at which Will hailed again. This time there was a reply, "Put away the light!" "I'm damned if I will," I muttered, but Will told me to do as the voice bade, and I shoved it down under the bulwarks. "Come nearer," he said, and the oar strokes continued. Then, when apparently some half-dozen fathoms distant, they again ceased. "Come alongside," exclaimed Will. "There's nothing to be frightened on board here." "Promise that you will not show that light?" "What's to do with you?" I burst out, "that you're so infernally afraid of the light?" Because, began the voice, and it stopped short. "Because what?" I asked quickly. Will put his hand on my shoulder. "Shut up a minute, old man," he said in a low voice. "Let me tackle him." Leaned more over the rail. "See here, mister," he said. "This is a pretty queer business, you coming upon us like this, right out in the middle of the blessed Pacific. How are we to know what sort of hanky-panky trick you up to? You say there's only one of you. How are we to know, unless we get a squint at you, eh? What's your objection to the light, anyway?" As he finished, I heard the noise of the oars again, and then the voice came, but now from a greater distance, and sounding extremely hopeless and pathetic. "I am sorry. Sorry I would not have troubled you, only I'm hungry, and so is she." The voice died away, and the sound of the oars dipping irregularly was borne to us. "Stop!" sang out Will. "I don't want to drive you away. Come back. We'll keep the light hidden if you don't like it." He turned to me. "It's a damn queer rig, this, but I think there's something to be afraid of. Do you?" There was a question in his tone, and I replied, "No, I think the poor devil's been wrecked out here and gone crazy." The sound of the oars drew nearer. "Shove that lamp back in the binnacle," said Will, and then he leaned over the rail and listened. I replaced the lamp and came back to his side. The dipping of the oars ceased some dozen yards distant. "Won't you come alongside now?" asked Will in an even voice. "I have had the lamp put back in the binnacle." I cannot," replied the voice. "I dare not come nearer. I dare not even pay you for the provisions." "That's all right," said Will. He had hesitated. "You're welcome to as much grub as you can take." Again he hesitated. "You are very good," exclaimed the voice, "and may God, who understands everything, reward you." It broke off huskily. The lady?" said Will abruptly. "Is she—" "I have left her behind upon the island," came the voice. "What island?" I cut in. "I know not its name," returned the voice. "I would to God—" It began and checked itself as suddenly. "Could we not send a boat for her?" asked Will at this point. "No," said the voice with extraordinary emphasis. "My God, no!" There was a moment's pause, and then it added, in a tone which seemed merit "I am a forgetful brute," exclaimed Will. "Just wait a minute, whoever you are, and I will bring you up something at once." Roach! "It was because of our want I ventured, because her agony tortured me." In a couple of minutes he was back again. His arms were full of various edibles. He paused at the rail. "Can't you come alongside for them?" he asked. "No, I dare not," replied the voice, and it seemed to me that in its tones I detected a note of stiffly craving, as though the owner hushed a mortal desire. It came to me then in a flash that the poor old creature out there in the darkness was suffering for actual need, for that which Will held in his arms, and yet, because of some unintelligible dread, refraining from dashing to the side of our schooner and receiving it. And with the lightning-like conviction that came with the knowledge that the invisible was not mad, but sanely facing some intolerable horror. "Ah, damn it, Will," I said, full of many feelings over which predominated a vast sympathy. "Get a box. We must float off the stuff to him in it." This we did. propelling it away from the vessel, out into the darkness by means of a boat hook. "Pretty soon off," remarked Will, then perhaps just a little sense of injury. In a minute, a slight cry from the invisible came to us, and we knew that he had secured the box. Ooh. A little later he called out a farewell to us, and so heartfelt a blessing that I'm sure we were the better for it. Then, without more ado, we heard the ply of oars across the darkness. "Wait," I replied. "I think somehow he'll come back. He must have been badly needing that food." "And the lady," said Will. For a moment he was silent. Then he continued, "It's the queerest thing ever I've tumbled across since I have ever been fishing." "Yes," I said, and fell to pondering. And so the time slipped away. An hour, another, and still Will stayed with me, for the queer adventure had knocked all desire to sleep out of him. The third hour was 3 parts through when we heard again the sound of the oars across the silent ocean. "Listen," said Will, in a low tone of excitement in his voice. "He's coming, just as I thought," he muttered. The dipping of the oars grew nearer, and I noted that the strokes were firmer and longer. The food had been needed. They came to a stop a little distance off the broadside, and the queer voice came again to us through the darkness. "Schooner ahoy! That you?" asked Will. "Yes," replied the voice. "I left you suddenly, but there was a great need." "The lady?" questioned Will. "The lady is grateful now on earth. She will be more grateful soon, in heaven." Will began to make some reply in a puzzled voice, but became confused and broke off. I said nothing. I was wondering at the curious pauses, and apart from my wonder, I was full of great sympathy. The voice continued, She and I have talked, as we shared the result of God's tenderness and yours." Will interposed, but without coherence. "I beg of you not to belittle your deed of Christian charity this night," said the voice. "Be sure that it has not escaped his notice." It stopped, and there were a full few minutes of silence. Then it came again. "We have spoken together upon that which has befallen us." We had thought to go out without telling anyone of the terror which has come into our lives. She's with me in believing that tonight's happenings are under a special ruling, and that it is God's wish that we should tell you all that we have suffered since. Yes, Will said softly. "Since the sinking of the Albatross." "Ah," claimed involuntarily. "She left Newcastle for Frisco some 6 months ago, and hasn't been heard of since." "Yes," answered the voice. "But some few degrees to the north of the line, she was caught in a terrible storm and dismasted. And then the calm came. It was found that she was leaking badly, and presently, it falling to a calm, the sailors took to the boats, leaving a young lady, my fiancé, and myself upon the wreck. We were below, gathering together a few of our belongings, when they left. They were entirely callous through fear, and when we came up upon the decks, we saw them only as small shapes afar off onto the horizon. Yet we did not despair, but she to work and constructed a small raft. Upon this we put such few matters as it would hold, including a quantity of water and some ship's biscuit. But then, the vessel being very deep in the water, we got ourselves onto the raft and pushed off. It was later that I observed we seemed to be in the way of some tide or current, which bore us from the ship at an angle, so that in the course of the 3 hours, by my watch, her hull became invisible to our sight, her broken mast remaining in view for a somewhat longer period. Then toward evening it grew misty, and so through the night. The next day we were still encompassed by the mist, the weather remaining quiet. For 4 days we drifted through the strange haze, until on the evening of the 4th day there grew upon our ears the murmur of breakers at a distance. Gradually became plainer, and somewhat after midnight it appeared to sound upon either hand at no very great space. The raft was raised upon a swell several times, and then we were in smooth water, and the noise of the breakers was behind. When the morning came, we found that we were in a sort of great lagoon, but all of this we noticed little at the time, for close before us, through the enshrouding mist, loomed the hull of the large sailing vessel. With one accord we fell upon our knees and thanked God, for we thought that here was an end to our perils, and we had much to learn. The raft drew near to the ship, and we shouted on them to take us aboard, but none answered. Presently the raft touched against the side of the vessel, and seeing a rope hanging downward, I seized it and I began to climb. Yet I had much ado to make my way up, because of the kind of grey, lichenous fungus that had seized upon the rope and blotched the side of the ship vividly. I reached the railing and I climbed over it into the dark deck, and here I saw that the decks were covered in great patches of this grey masses, some of them rising into nodules several feet in height, but all the time I thought less of this matter than of the possibility of there being people aboard the ship. I shouted, but none answered. Then I went to the door below the poop deck, and I opened it, and I peered in. There was a great smell of staleness, so that I knew in a moment that nothing living was within, and with the knowledge shut the door quickly, for I felt suddenly lonely. Well, oh, sorry. I went back to the side where I had scrambled up. My sweetheart was still sitting quietly upon the raft. Seeing me look down, she called up to know whether there were any aboard the ship. I replied that the vessel had the appearance of having been long deserted, but if she would wait a little, I would see whether there was anything in the shape of a ladder by which she could ascend to the deck. Then we would make a search through the vessel together. A little later, on the opposite side of the decks, found a rope and a side ladder. This I carried across. With a minute afterwards, she was beside me. Together we explored the cabins and apartments in the after part of the ship, but nowhere was there any sign of life. Here and there, within the cabins themselves, we came across odd patches of that queer fungus, but this, as my sweetheart said, could be cleaned away. In the end, having assured ourselves that the after portion of the vessel was empty, we picked our ways to the bows, between the ugly grey nodules of that strange growth, and here we made a further search, which told us that there was indeed none aboard but ourselves. This being now beyond any doubt, we returned to the stern of the ship and proceeded to make ourselves as comfortable as possible. Together we cleared out and cleaned 2 of the cabins, and after that I made examination whether there was anything eatable in the ship. This soon found was so, and thank God for his goodness. In addition to this, I discovered a fresh water pump, and having fixed it, I found the water drinkable, though somewhat unpleasant to taste. For several days we stayed aboard the ship without attempting to get to the shore. We were busily engaged in making the place habitable. Yet even thus early we became aware that our lot was even less to be desired than might have been imagined. For though as a first step we scraped away the odd patches of growth that studded the floors and walls of the cabins and saloon, yet they returned almost in their original size within the space of 24 hours, which not only discouraged us, but gave us a feeling of vague unease. Still, we would nor abandon ourselves beaten, so set to the work afresh, and not only scraped away the fungus, but soaked the places where it had been with carbolic. It's a canful of which I had found in the pantry, yet by the end of the week the growth had returned in full strength, and in addition it had spread to the other places, as though our touching it had allowed germs from it to travel elsewhere. On the 7th morning my sweetheart woke to find a small patch of it growing on her pillow, close to her face. All that, she came to me as soon as she could get her gamuts upon her. I was in the galley at the time, lighting the fire for breakfast. "Come here, John," she said, and led me aft. When I saw the thing upon her pillow, I shuddered, and then and there we agreed to go right out of the ship and see whether we could not fare to make ourselves more comfortable ashore. We cleansed it between us, watching it with the carbolic and water. In the morning of the following day, she showed her hand to me again. The grey warty thing had returned. For a little while we looked at one another in silence. Then, still wordless, we started again to remove it. In the midst of the open operation, she spoke suddenly. "What's that on the side of your face, dear?" Her voice was sharp with anxiety. I put my hand up to feel. "There, under the hair by your ear. A little to the front of a bit." My finger rested upon the place, and then I knew. "Let us get your thumb done first," I said, and she submitted only because she was afraid to touch me until it was cleansed. I finished washing and disinfecting her thumb, and then she turned to my face. After it was finished, we sat together and talked a while, of many things, for there had come into our lives sudden, very terrible thoughts. We were, all at once, afraid of something worse than death. We spoke of loading the boat with provisions and water and making our way out onto the sea. Yet we were helpless, for many causes, and the growth had attached to us already, and it was attacking us. We decided to stay. God would do with us what His will, and we would wait. A month, 2 months, 3 months passed, and the place grew somewhat, and there had come others. Yet we fought so strenuously with the fear that its headway was but slow, comparatively speaking. Occasionally we ventured off to the ship for such stores as we needed. There we found that the fungus grew persistently. One of the nodules of the main deck soon became as high as my head. We had now given up all thought or hope of leaving the island. We had realized that it would be unallowable to go among healthy humans with the thing from which we were suffering. With this determination and knowledge in our minds, we knew that we should have to husband our food and water, for we did not know at the time, but that we should possibly live for many years. This reminds me that I have told you that I'm not an old man. I am an old man. Judged by years, this is not so, but He broke off, then continued somewhat abruptly. As I was saying, we knew that we should have to use care in the matter of food, but we had no idea then how little food there was left of which to take care. It was a week later that I made the discovery that all the other bread tanks, which I had supposedly full, were empty, and that, beyond odd tins of vegetables and meat and some other matters, we had nothing on which to depend but the bread in the tank which I had already opened. After learning this, I bestirred myself to do what I could, and set to work at fishing in the lagoon, but with no success, and this is somewhat inclined to feel desperate, until the thought came to me to try outside the lagoon in the open sea. Here, at times, I caught odd fish, but so infrequently that they proved of but little help in keeping us from the hunger which threatened. It seemed to me that our deaths were likely to come by hunger, and not by the growth of this thing which has seized upon our bodies. We were in the state of mind then, with 4 months wore out, then I made a very horrible discovery. One morning, a little before midday, I came off from the ship with a portion of the biscuits which were left in the mouth of her tent. I saw my sweetheart sitting, eating something. "What is it? What is it, my dear?" I called out as I leaped ashore. Yet on hearing my voice, she seemed confused, and turning slyly through something toward the edge of the little clearing, it fell short, and a vague suspicion having arisen within me, I walked across and picked it up. It was a piece of the grey fungus. As I went to her with it in my hand, she turned deadly pale, then a rose red. I felt strangely dazed and frightened. My dear, I said, and could say no more. Yet at my words she broke down and cried bitterly. Gradually, as she calmed, I got from her the news that she had tried it the preceding day, and liked it. I got her to promise on her knees not to touch it again, however great our hunger. After she'd promised, she told me that the desire for it had come suddenly, and that until that moment of desire she had experienced nothing toward it but the most extreme repulsion. Later in the day, feeling strangely restlessly, so much shaken with the thing which I had discovered, I made my way along one of the twisted paths, formed by the white sand-like substance which led among the fungal growth. I had once before ventured along there, but not to any great distance. This time, being involved in perplexing thought, I went much farther than hitherto. Suddenly I was called to myself by a queer hoarse sound on my left. Turning quickly, I saw that there was movement among an extraordinarily shaped mass of fungus close to my elbow. It was swaying uneasily, as though it possessed life of its own. Abruptly, as I stared, the thought came to me that the thing had a grotesque resemblance to the figure of a distorted human creature. Even as the fancy flashed into my brain, there was a slight, sickening noise of tearing, and I saw that one of the branch-like arms was detaching itself from the surrounding masses and coming toward me. The head of the thing, a shapeless gray ball, inclined in my direction. I stood stupidly, and the vile arm brushed across my face. I gave out a frightened cry, and I ran back a few paces. There was a sweetish taste upon my lips where the thing had touched me. I licked them, and was immediately filled with an inhuman desire. I turned and I seized a mass of the fungus. Then more and more I was insatiable. In the midst of devouring, the remembrance of the morning's discovery swept into my amazed brain. It was sent by God. I dashed the fragment I held to the ground, then utterly wretched and feeling a dreadful guiltiness, I made my way back to the encampment. I think she knew, by some marvelous intuition which love must have given, so soon as she set eyes on me. Her quiet sympathy made it easier for me, and I told her of my sudden weakness. Yet I omitted to mention the extraordinary thing which had gone before. I desired to spare her all unnecessary terror. But for myself, I had added an intolerable knowledge to breed an incessant terror in my brain, for I doubted not that I had seen the end of one of these men who has come to the island in the ship in the lagoon, and in that monstrous ending I had seen our own. Thereafter we kept from the abominable food, though the desire for it had entered our own blood. Yet our dreary punishment was upon us, for day by day, with monstrous rapidity, the fungal growth took hold of our poor bodies. Nothing we could do would check it materially, and so, we who had been human became, well, it matters less each day, only we had been man and maid. And day by day the fight is more dreadful to withstand the hunger lust for the terrible lichen. A week ago we ate the last of the biscuit, and since that time I have caught 3 fish. I was out here fishing tonight when your schooner drifted upon me out of the mist. I hailed you. You know the rest. And may God, of all his great heart, bless you for your goodness to a couple of poor outcast souls. There was the dip of an oar. Another. Then the voice came again, and for the last time, sounding through the slight surrounding mist, ghostly and mournful. God bless you. Goodbye. Goodbye, we shouted together hoarsely, our hearts full of many emotions. I glanced about me. I became aware that the dawn was upon us. The sun flung a stray beam across the hidden sea, pierced the mist dully, and lit up the receding boat with a gloomy fire. Indistinctly I saw something nodding between the oars. I thought of a sponge, a great gray, nodding sponge. The oars continued to ply. They were gray, as was the boat, and my eyes searched a moment vainly for the conjunction of hand and oar. My gaze flashed back to the head It nodded forward as the oars went backward for the stroke. Then the oars were dipped, the boat shot out of the patch of light, and the thing went nodding into the mist. Well, that is a bit sad. So what do you think, subscribers, M-Souls, returning viewers? Did you like the story? In a boat on the Pacific in the middle of the night? What would you have done? My first thought actually was, did his hand touch our boat? Are we going to be next? Are they still human? Are they going to devour themselves to the end? Or are they going to become a part of the big blob of lichen? It's an interesting story because I've seen some modern works. I think it's a TV show that came out in the past year, and we're waiting for the next season. Can't remember the name of it now, but it's another one of those zombie movies, and the girl is immune or something, or a carrier, and they likened it to lichen, some kind of mold growth, a fungal growth that adapted in the child, but most of the people in the modern world don't have that adaptation, and it's based on a real scientific fact of what could survive post-apocalyptic world, because we don't have an immune system that can defend against it. So that is a very interesting story coming from a long time ago, long enough ago that it is public domain. All right. Hopefully you've drifted off to sleep and I've helped you get cozy. But if not, and if you're still awake, on the tuck-in and chill night, we can spend some time chatting with whatever's on your mind to settle you for the evening, or since at this particular moment in time I don't have my subscribers online, many of them are in the West Coast or other time zones, so they'll be watching later. Let me know in the comments below if you like this story and how you'd like me to change my voice without a voice changer, so that each character can be more distinct from the other. Give me your thoughts and comments. If there's a particular story from public domain or a story you've written yourself that you'd like to hear me create, I'd be happy to do that for you as well. For the moment, I'm just going to take a break, and I'm going to have a drink of my black milk red bean tea, which is sweet from the red beans. Lots of ice cubes in it. I don't know if you can hear that. And I'm raising my glass to your health and mine, wishing you a very fulfilling, very restful night's sleep tonight. Cheers. Ooh, that's so tasty. Please, if you haven't had a chance to hydrate yet today, please stop. Have a drink of water right now, hot or cold. Add flavors or not. Let's keep you well. Oh, I just fell back. I just fell out of my tent. Oh well. I just love looking at the night sky, and there's one thing I'm going to do for you today. Usually when I get through, I either do a viewing of a story that I've already made, or usually a sneak peek if I've got a new one. I haven't done them yet, but I am going to be dedicating the last 2 weeks of July to redeveloping the sleep aid story side of the shows that I do. And in the meantime, I can help you in another way. So I'm going to switch the screen for just a moment, because when I finish with the original stories, the format has changed due to subscribers' interest, that I share some ghost stories of my own at the end to top off the evening. So I'm going to switch the screen just for a moment. Let's see if I can do this right. Here we go. And I bring this down. Which one did I open up? Huh. Okay. Okay. There we go. Alright. Now, if you're still awake and you'd like to focus on something to look at while I'm speaking, I have here for you a full moon. My real name, and I'm not going to tell you what it is actually a dialect of the name named after the goddess from ancient Rome, Diana of the Hunt. And she's a huntress. She's someone who stays in a solitary life. And let me just see here. I know what's bothering me. Okay, that's not working at all. I'm going to bring this down so you can see it better. Sorry, I thought I had it lined up. Alright. And so she's the goddess of the moon. So in looking at the moon, and in this culture, the moon was considered to be a slab of marble in the sky. So a big stone, but stone specifically of marble, because the shadows look like the grains of a gray marble. And that is what the temples for the gods and goddesses were built from. So, to honor them. And so I like to think about this. So I've always loved seeing the moon. I was also born just after midnight of a full moon, which I hear a lot of babies are. But I, again, just love to think about the mystery of this rock. And I take inspiration from it. I had no idea, as I was traveling the world as a young person, that there were cultures who feared the moon and would not deliberately go out camping to be under the stars and moon gaze. But there are. Now, I always joked, because I was paler than most of my family, that I moon tanned when I was stargazing and moon gazing. But I just love seeing the full moon. I'm also hairy, so maybe I'm descended from a werewolf. Who knows? Wolf packs in the wild have adopted me twice in my lifetime for very short periods while I was living in those places, because I always kept food on hand to throw out so they wouldn't want to eat me. And I made sure the babies got fed. If you help that mother alpha, she has your back. Alright, now after saying all that, I went far enough north into Nunavut to find that the Inuit there feared the moon. They didn't go out on a full moon. They shut their blinds and they stayed out of the moonlight. Now, there's lots of superstitions. They've got such a wealth of ghost stories and superstitions of their own, and I'm not going to tell theirs, but if you look them up, you can find so many, and so many things on YouTube as well. But just to say, I was so far north that I could tell what hour it was at night, every hour on the hour, as the moon rose and crossed the sky and fell on the other side, crossing Orion's belt. And I was very accurate in naming the time, because the sun and the moon, I guess we're in the north there, we're closer to the sun and the moon's circle. Hi Tishy Adams, how are you tonight? I'm just talking about my time up in Nunavut, where I was living with Inuit, and I could tell the time, the hour of the night, by where the full moon was, coming up and crossing the sky, crossing Orion's belt, and going back down. And we actually have an episode, Tishy, for you. It's coming out on July the 25th. It's the night that I'm going to be in a meeting for the Game Inventors Club. And so it was something I wrote for you like maybe a month ago. We were talking about having foods that are easy to make, that are very good for health and weight loss and weight maintenance, but they don't take long to make, and you can store them for a long time in the freezer. So you can just make it once and then get up and go every day and grab your Ziplocs. So that episode is coming up 2 Tuesdays from now. So not this week, but next week, I think. Yes. It'll be on the 25th. So that's one for you. So I'm glad to see you tonight. So I was just saying that in my culture, the culture that I come from, I was named after the goddess of the moon. So my name, my real name, is a like a variation of or a slang of that goddess's name for the moon. And going up to Coral Harbor. Oh, congratulations and happy upcoming birthday! Thank you for telling me. So now I think I know that your favorite color is purple. Is that true, or is it black? I'm caught between the two. But yeah, while I gather this information from you, I just have the moon posted here so we could look at it while I'm talking about the connections with the moon from different cultures. So in the Inuit community where I was up in Coral Harbor, they did not promote being out under a full moon. They hid from it because they thought it was a bad omen, and I didn't get quite to the very point of it. But because I come from a culture where we kind of worship the moon and like the moon, I was always out there collecting my power in the middle of the night. But I think maybe the more practical side to any superstition. Oh, black and purple for sure. All right, I'm going to keep that in mind. Nishi, if you could do anything at all in the world, if you had the power of magic, how would you want to spend your birthday? Or what kind of things would you want people to give you? Trying to think of what would be your favorite food, favorite flower. I'm thinking you like black cats and squirrels. Black cats and squirrels. Here comes the moon one last time. So yeah, so what was up in Nunavut? When I'd go outside, they would tell me get back in because it's the moon, it's bad omen. And I'd be like, really? I love the moon. They're like, no, it's bad luck. And they would also tell me if you see the northern lights, not to stay outside and play late because you could get your head chopped off. Because they considered it the spirits of their ancestors who were dancing and to give them their privacy. And they used to tell me if you wanted to see more, you play with your zipper and you make it go up and down really fast. And I tell you, every time I did that, it would make them dance more. So some kind of electrical energy. I don't know if it was coincidence, but every time I did it. So I would go outside, take a look at the moon, say hello, do a zipper dance, watch the lights come up and go, oh, pretty, and then run inside. Because on the more practical side of these superstitions, you've got polar bears out there who could walk up from any side of you on this little island and behead you. So I guess you didn't want to be gazing up into the air and not watching what was around your feet. But that is a place where if you were to look on YouTube online, Coral Harbor has lots of ghost stories, lots of stories of different mythological creatures we've never heard of down south. Unless you've met an Inuit person. So I encourage people to look it up. And so, with that said, I'm going to put the moon away for a bit. Although, I think it's really interesting, Tisha, that you show up just as I put a full moon on my screen. So, it's not all bad for me anyways. Haha. So now, here's what I'm doing tonight. I feel like going camping. I was inspired by the LARPers that I met at the Comic-Con or the YetiCon, and I just wanted to do a tuck-in and chill under the stars tonight. So you'd like to have a nice dinner and drinks with friends and family. We're happy if it's at home. So you do like, you're a homebody then. Okay. So black and purple, black cats, squirrels, the fruit tree drink. I know that's like a green drink that you make. Fruit trees. And what would your dinner be? I'm thinking someone else cooking it would make you happier, but you probably cook it better. Okay. I'm collecting this information in my head because I'm trying to do something this year for my subscribers. I would like to acknowledge your birthday in a little birthday message. So now I'm going to make one for you. Yeah. So this is my first camping trip of the summer right here in this tuck-in and chill. Is there anything on your mind that you would like to talk about today since you're here? Basically, for me, I'm up for any topic. And I'm drinking today, instead of water, I actually have a black tea with milk and then red beans because the red beans are sweet. And I'm hoping that it also means that they're full of protein. We'll find out. Now, before I came live today and set up my tent here, I actually was looking for how to put a tic-tac-toe game where my subscribers, when they're here during my live shows, would be able to play tic-tac-toe with the AI. And I thought I put it in and it disappeared. So I'm hoping that by this time next week, I'm going to have the tic-tac-toe running. So while we're listening and chatting and dealing with lags, you can also play with the computer at the same time. But yeah, I'm inspired by the full moon. I was surprised to find when I went up north that so many people had superstitions to hide from it, to not let its beams touch you. Whereas I've always found it as a guide and a hopeful inspiration. But then I'm also named after it, so I guess. I hope I don't give anyone bad luck when I'm looking at them. Wouldn't that be a fun superpower? Stare at somebody and, I don't know, watch a piano fall from the sky on them. I don't know. I feel bad for wasting a piano. Was that mean? I've been making lots of stuff lately. Eating a chocolate chip cookie with, ooh, lemon, chocolate chip ice cream. Oh, homemade. Homemade is really good. I've actually found a homemade how to make your own sorbets and how to make your own ice creams, and some of those recipes are going to be coming into effect, actually. And have homemade. Ooh, homemade spaghetti sauce. I've been doing that too, actually. I've been eating spaghetti for the past 3 days, where I've been cutting up the tomatoes from the farm, and I've been actually peeling them like a little sissy and simmering them down with all the herbs to make a sauce. Yeah, it's thinner than, because I haven't been using tomato paste, but good and safe for me because I have to watch my salt. So yeah. It looks like we're on the same page with our eating, except I haven't been into chocolate at all. I've actually somehow, since flooding myself with water, not liked chocolate anymore, even the smell. More so, I don't like the price. But I am enjoying my red bean tea. I've been getting back into teas lately. Yeah. So, this is me getting myself mentally prepared for camping, maybe LARPing. I'm going to reach out to the LARPing group and see when their next thing is. Unfortunately, I had dislocated my knee probably about a month ago, and it's not much better. It's been very painful to try to get up and down to a sleeping position, so I definitely can't, yeah, I don't add salt at all. I definitely can't run. So I think I'm going to volunteer myself to be an NPC and see what happens. Oh, I wouldn't. I think to add the balsamic part. That's kind of like having like an apple cider tea. Raspberry's awesome though. Raspberry balsamic tea. Raspberry's, I think, a really amazing fruit. I think it's really tasty in everything. I actually like raspberry vinaigrette for salads. Yeah. So, I'm not sure how much you're into my recipe, the riddle recipes. I think maybe you sometimes have listened to them. So I want you to know that I had this amazing brainstorm in the past 2 days. There's so many things I've got as a to-do list to explore. But I've actually already pre-scripted. I just have to massage them into the riddle parts. I've got 3 weeks worth of New Zealand subscriber dedicated Hobbit inspired recipes leading up to September 22nd, which is when Bilbo Bobbins and his brother have their birthday. And I've got enough recipes between the stuff we talked about when I got into researching hippie foods and health foods, and then talking to Persona, one of the new subscribers I think you've met last week online. And, oh, yay. Well, I really took an effort this week because I had the time to try to make original riddles as much as possible because I know some ingredients we use all the time. And so I tried to be original. Few dad jokes have gotten in there, so I just apologize for that. But some subscribers, like the other guy, Hero, um, Eternal Flame, not Hero Flame, Eternal Flame, one of my very first subscribers, he asked for dad jokes, so I do give them to him. I do want to go back to some themed musical jokes too because they were also interesting, but I haven't done it yet. I've kind of done whatever was the fastest. But there are some original stuff coming out over the next week. And I'm pretty much written. I'm dedicating part of August for a couple of weeks of mermaid-inspired stuff. It was going to happen sooner, but I got sidetracked. And I've got a whole bunch during the rest of this week. There's going to be a few more, this straightforward one riddle round only for DIY projects to self-care and home care, fun stuff, easy things to do with kids at home if they like concocting things and then give them out as presents. It's up to you guys. But those are coming out, which is not to going back to what I used to do before I had an avatar that was rigged. So that's happening. That's new. We also have another new subscriber. Yay. We're growing slowly, but we are growing. So that's very happy for me. And you'll see that I am trying to do celebrate every day. If I have the time to make the little shorts, because I'm still trying to catch that algorithm. I'm still trying to figure out how to do that. So you're going to see some titles, old titles coming back again. I'm slightly changing them to see if that works. Yeah. And in Dragonflight, no, this isn't Saturday, but I'm not doing a guild meeting this week, so it's okay. I'll just tell you. I have a dragon. I have obtained a dragon that I have a skill tree for. I am at level 4 out of 6 with my dragon. So all of my characters can fly around all the realms, although I only show you the one, the Venus Ald. But I have confirmed through a pro Cord Rogue that I do have earned the dragon. That nobody's flying free willy-nilly. Everyone has to power up to soar around the world. So I'm kind of using it like a goblin glider and dropping myself down on things. Yeah. So now I'm sitting on 3 recipes for better gear. With this ability to fly over things that can kill me. I'm going to drop down on the draconian ore that I haven't been able to get at yet by running on the ground. And I'm hoping to meet my goal and be raid worthy for Dragonflight level. I'm right now raid worthy to survive without embarrassing myself in the Shadowlands, which is the last expansion before this one. So we're getting there. 4 months in, 4.5 months now in, and we're growing. So I'm very excited for that. All right. Now I will be also dedicating the last 2 weeks of July to go back. Oh, no problem. Check on that sauce. Don't let it burn. It sounds so good. It's so funny that I put up a full moon and you appear and we've both been eating spaghetti. I don't know. Coincidences. Gotta love it. So what was I going to talk about while Tisha is checking the homemade tomato sauce? I feel like I could smell it and it's making my mouth water. But I'm gonna eat my red beans after I'm done drinking the tea. The full moon. So, again, so bringing me back to stories in Nunavut. That was the place where, if I told you about the sound of a little girl playing basketball in the hallways, would always greet me, and there would never be anyone in the halls whenever I checked. And I was like the very last classroom on the back side of the building, which just faced out to. Basically, we're built over top of an underground river, sinking in. Lots of mold would happen and stuff like that. But they said that a little girl drowned in that river on the side where my room was. And so now I have a sneaky suspicion that one of the older ladies that lived there alone and was not all there. I don't know. I can't tell. I can't say for sure. But she's a little bit eccentric. Some people rumored that she would go into the attic of the building. So when I think I'm hearing the ball bouncing in the hallway, it's coming from hitting what would be my ceiling and her floor. And not actually the floor in front of my room, which is why I'd never hear it, but she'd be able to see and hear me through the vents. That is what one person told me they think was going on. Because, you'd put your food in the fridge thinking you're the only one there or there's one other person there. And you come in earlier on the weekend because up there you're allowed to go into school anytime as long as you're working to help their kids. It was really cool. And she would pop down and eat your food and then pop away. That would really tick me off. And so, I don't know if it was a ghost or if it was her. I can't prove it was her because I have no idea how she's getting in there, but she's been working there for about 10 years. So some say that it's her. Others think it is the little girl who drowned saying hello. And I did talk about the ghost that smelled like lavender. And I thought it was the other co-worker burning a lavender candle in their room because I knew they had a purple candle. But they had never lit it. They showed me the wick. So that was someone trying to give me comfort. That was also the place where I switched from the original house I lived in with a roommate where the wind was so strong on all sides. If we're gonna do a scientific thing, and the house is being on stilts so that when the snow falls it creates an air pocket under the house to try to keep the pipes warmer because it's an air trap. I mean a warm air like insulator, kind of the way wool sweaters would be, with the little hooks in the wool making all those little air pockets that keep people warmer. And but it would always be kitchen cupboards would bang 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 bang, everything would be kind of open, and that was always very freaky to see and hear, and we hated feeling it. It would shove us so much back and forth that my bed would move away from the wall by inches at a time. Like it was pretty strong. I'm not a slight girl, so that takes some energy to make a bed shuffle back and forth multiple inches away from a wall. And that's where I would see the shadows of the man with the hat always looking down and the little girl staring at me, which followed me. I think the girl followed me from the school. The man followed me across the town to the other side where I found out where I was living, and where I kept seeing the shadow is, they say, the older teenager male who had hung himself there. And so I was seeing the hanged man. Not necessarily just when there was a full moon. I mean, the skies are so alive in the north. If you ever get a chance to have a trip to watch the northern lights, you just can't imagine until you see it for yourself. It's awe-inspiring. And up there I saw all the colors that in northern Ontario you don't see. Northern Ontario, I'd see a lot of emerald greens and whites, like as in the sky, day sky was reversed at night. But I'd never see the other colors. In Nunavut, I'd see lilac purples. I'd see baby blues. The sky at the middle of the night would be like a navy blue instead of, or a marine blue instead of a black, because in the summertimes you're tilted so much closer to the sun. I didn't get a lot of sleep at nights there. I'd get a lot of my sleep, and I still do. I've been like this for a very long time, where the early morning between 4 and 6, and the late at night, when I come home from work, I'd say between 4 and 6 or 7. The twilight times, that's when I could sleep. And when I needed to be awake for work, I was alert for that. And when I needed to be like protective of myself for some reason or superstition, I was up in the middle of the night. I was always up in the middle of the night. And yeah, and then I found out that telling ghost stories is really big in Nunavut. The Inuit there really love it and consider it part of their culture to share those stories. So they were always interested in asking me what was going on in my house, trying to get me to admit that I was seeing or feeling things. And at first I didn't want anyone to think I was crazy. And then when they finally started like coming over, asking me to invite them over, and then they would sit there with me and say, we hear that, and this house is very active, and it would just not help you feel any better. And they would hear all the bangings going on in the rooms, because I actually made my life in the living room. I slept on the couch where I could see the windows to the outside and know there's no human walking around there. And the kitchen was all open concept, like one big meeting area. And then the bedrooms were just tiny little rooms along the one perimeter, just across two walls in an L shape. And one of them had been locked by the owner, so all their stuff had been pushed in there, which, can make you feel creepy. So I would just never go to the back rooms at all. And that was also where I had the roommates where the cat and I both heard dishes banging around really loud. and the cat ran into my lap, and I said, oh, hell no, we're not staying here. If you think you see something and you're coming to me for help, black cat, we're out of here. And I took that cat with me to where the owner was working at the only general store at night on the island, and we went and sat there while she did her shift, and we wouldn't come back because whenever her boyfriend came over, nothing would happen. Whenever it was one of us alone with the cat, or us alone, it would bug us. So we think it was the guy hung himself. I mean, we were pretty young girls, and he was, that age range, a couple years off from us, so I guess he was acknowledging. But I went and I found a shaman to get cleansed so that I could leave there and not feel like anything was following me. And just to be sure, I got cleansed again on the other side when I got back to mainland in my new home. And I feel like that worked for a time. But yeah, that's some of my stories. I see Tisha's back. Aurora Borealis was supposed to be seen tonight, but they downgraded it. So there's a chance to see it tonight. You mean you can see it from where you live, Tisha? Because I've never seen one this far south for me. I've never noticed one. But then I'm not camping. I know that I used to drive out to this abandoned school in the middle of nowhere, half hour from where I used to live on the border of Toronto, and because no one was out there, me and my best friend, we would lie down on a picnic towel, and we could watch meteor showers, and it was amazing. And then you just drove 15 minutes away from that spot, and you couldn't see anything because of all the street lights and the store lights everywhere. So I don't know. I've never noticed it around here where I am. But when I see the moon, I feel happy. I don't think it's ever given me any bad luck, but I'm named for the goddess of the moon in our cultures, the ancient culture stuff, so maybe that's on my side? I don't know. But anyone who's ever asked me, I do say though, as much as I want Canada to earn money, and the guys there really need that money, they really do care to do their job well, and they're very friendly. If you want the party experience, go to Finland or something where they drink. Not that I don't think people should drink, but I'm saying if you're looking for a party, you're gonna have a calmer experience, a more responsible experience in Canada. A lot of dry communities up north, even with law changes, there's a lot of dry communities up north because they don't want to see deaths because of exposure, because someone passed out in the snow and nobody brought them home. So you're not going to get like the bar experience or like you have in major cities. But if you were to go to like Sweden, Norway, Denmark, like they're way up in the top, they're the other side of the Arctic Circle from us, top of Russia, 14 kilometers away from the top of us, dropping their flags on our side, and nobody's picked them up yet because it's expensive. I say we build a little like robot shark with a Canadian flag on it and send our mini jaws out there to eat their flags and just get them out of there. Use remote control. Yes, so Tisha, is it you or is it Dark Alice? No, I think it's Dark Alice who joined the Harry Potter Puzzles and Spells group, because we are in Sapphire. The only times we've hit Sapphire is when the other subscriber from this group joined into my team over there and plays with me. And since we've got another person who used to be very active, has been active lately on their iPad, we may get promoted higher than we've ever been very shortly. And I think if it's you, I want to thank you for joining the group. If it's Dark Alice, I'm sending you out a thank you for joining and being active in the group. I'm mixing the two of you guys up, but it's one of you, and so whichever one of you it is has helped us to soar ahead. And I'm so excited that we might be Sapphire 2nd level coming up with the next changeover. We are like in the Quidditch, we're like double the points over everybody else in first place, at least when I last logged off at dinner time today. So I'm very excited about that. So since I'm not doing a guild meeting this week, I've changed it to be just a bi-weekly thing because I found it hard to do Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in a row every week. It just kind of drained me, and I don't want to fall asleep on you guys. So, is there any type of a show that I haven't done, or a section of my playlist that I haven't developed enough yet that you would like to see more of? Or so I figured out how to make myself a. I've been thinking about making myself a centaur ever since I made myself a mermaid, and there is a National Horse Loving Day, so that's what I think. I have so many brainstormed ideas today that I still haven't finished with some of my originals. That like I'm already pre-planned. I just have to edit my scripts for all of the Riddle Me dinners and Riddle Me snacks right to the end of September. It's funny what took my brain, and yet I created a whole other list of little shorts because I need to beat that algorithm. I need to get the numbers I was getting on my first little adventure into 5-second videos. But my storytelling side, I have to work on that. I abandoned it in August, and I need to. That was my original set of stories I thought I was going to tell, and I ended up not. So that was a surprise to me. Now, I have other public domain found stories, and in the one tonight, I hope that nobody is offended by my use of the word queer. It is a story in the context of the sentences, where it's like the synonym to saying the word strange regarding events, not regarding people or the quality of people. And I didn't change anything about the scripts. If that's bothersome to someone, and I don't want anyone to be offended, I will have to re-script this story somehow. I am allowed to take the public domain stories, the ones that I collected, and play with them. I just didn't want to invest the time in that. I'm just you like when my stories are impromptu? Oh, thank you. Well, we could do some of that tonight. Are you interested in seeing Harry Potter Puzzles and Spells? Before we log out tonight, just to see where we're at? I never know. See, I used to actually pre-plan what my rambles could be about, and I used to keep a screen open where I could see fun facts about the games I was trying to play. I found a game on Steam. I don't know if you'd want me to do it right now. Tonight was supposed to be about making people fall asleep, but we don't need to do that. I found it. It's called My Singing Monsters. It sounds really, really stupid. Would you rather do Harry Potter or My Singing Monsters? I think I'd have to launch it. We'd have to find out if it's going to waste a lot of time launching. But I was going to save it for Thursday because it looks ridiculously stupid. And I think I'm about to say dumb things that will make people giggle. With that, I think I need to find some fun stuff and not be so serious. Because when I'm playing World of Warcraft, I forget to talk to people. Which maybe for anyone who might live with me be a good thing. But for the people who have logged in to hear someone chat, not a good thing, not so much. So you tell me, Harry Potter or Singing Monsters? Harry Potter. All right. So I'm actually, before I change my screen, going into where I can pull it up. So hang on here. You're just going to hear me clicking. And then I'll just adjust it. So I guess I'm channeling my inner sleeper because, oh, I guess I could do a costume change. Let me see here. I'm getting into the screen. Harry Potter Puzzles and Spells. I think it's Dark Alice who's in this one. Okay. Let me just see here. Doo-doo-doo. Hang on. While it's uploading, there's something else I wanted to try, but I don't know if I should do it while you're online. I was trying to learn how to put that AI tic-tac-toe board up so that when you're watching me, and you're live as my subscriber in the chat channel, you should be able to play tic-tac-toe with the computer. But I think for some reason, I don't know how I did it, by accident I erased it, and now I'm trying to figure out how to get it back. So sources, add a source. Oh, this includes widgets. I'm hitting a plus sign now. I want to give you the tic-tac-toe board so that you can play a game while I'm playing a game. I'm going to widgets. There's a spinny wheel thing. I don't know what that's for. Something for charity. There's a jar. Tip ticker. Nope. Game widget. Okay, I'm hitting game widget now. Let your viewers play a game in chat. I'm adding the source. Game widget. Just enter the name of the source. I'm just saying game widget. I don't know. We're going to play tic-tac-toe. Chat decision time. I don't know what that means. It's an exclamation mark SL game. That's the trigger command. I'm just going to copy that. I don't know if it's going to tell you about that. General settings, game settings. Can you see the tic-tac-toe board on my screen? Do you have that? Let me make it bigger. I could share. I'll stick it up in the corner there. Playing chat's turn. No response from chat. Restarting. Can you see that, Tisha Adams? That there is a tic-tac-toe board? Oh, so you're supposed to be able to play it. So while I'm changing my clothes and getting ready to go into Harry Potter world, please feel free. Let me see. I'm going to move screen capture down. And I'm gonna change my stuff now. You're gonna see me do it right in front of you. Let me know if you're able to play the widget game, or if I'm supposed to drag it. I don't think I can drag it into the chat box, can I? Okay, I'm gonna change all of this stuff. One? What does one mean? Oh, you're picking what square to put things in. You know, I can't even write in the chat area. Okay, so now this Starry Night, I gotta dump you. And now I'm gonna go up over here. I'm gonna get rid of you. And screen capture. Done. All right. Gotta make this a little smaller. Is the game working? Won't let me play. Don't know if I'm doing it wrong though. Okay, so I'm gonna learn more about it, and then maybe I'll make a little video to teach everybody how to do it. Because I've never done it. Does it need more than one person to tell it what to do? No, you should be you alone. with the AI. Okay, I'm gonna go into sources one more time. And where it says about the game widgets, in the game widgets, let your viewers play a game and chat. Okay, I added the source. Game widget 1. Add source. Six-second wait times. Trigger command !SL game. !SL game. No input received, no response from chat, restarting. Okay, let me see what this is. Message was played to let the chat know they didn't provide any input. Trigger command used by the chat to provide their response. Okay, do you want me to simplify? Maybe I should simplify instead of you doing !ISL !SL game. Maybe I'll do. How come you're putting the number 1 at the back of that? If you do just !SL game with no number at the end of it, will it let you play? Okay, so I'm going to do !play. PLAY. !PLAY all in small. I'm going to do that. And I'm hitting close. So now, the first one, I'm going to take it away. And then the second one, okay, do you see this new one here? It is !PLAY. PLAY. So it's to play. And then I wonder if it needs more than one person to vote. But hopefully not. Okay, so how come you're putting the number 1 beside it? And do you have a space between play and the number 1? Play 1 to 8. Oh, I see. It's telling you to do that. Okay. So this one. Whoop. This widget. Wait. I'm trying to take a widget. Where are you? The number curly space the number right. So which game widget is it? Okay, I'm trashing the game widget that wasn't working first. So now it's like !play. I'm gonna lock that one in. I'm checking its settings. So chat marker is an X. Let's see. Okay, there's nothing more I can do. I'm so sorry. I think when Hero Flame, if Hero Flame does show up at some point, we'll have them vote with you. Because maybe it's looking for more than one responder. It shouldn't be. It should be that you should be able to do your own thing. Oh, I'm sorry. I will investigate this, and then when I figure out how it works, I will definitely tell you guys, and I'll make a little video to tell you guys so that you're not annoyed. We tried it. Oh boy. Okay, so I'm going to continue on. So I'm here with Harry Potter World, and I'm just going to shake myself down a little. There we go. Got this beautiful Pegasus. Oh, it's Buckbeak. And let's take a look at where our chat is. Well, we tried something new. At least we know, and now I know that I'm going to leave that there so that I can remember to figure out how to make it work. There's a video I know I need to watch for that, and then I will make a video to tell you guys how to do it. I'll introduce it so that you guys can be less bored and just play. While I'm playing, you can play. So, Dita Corinne is back. Oh, I think that's Dark Alice. Yes, so it's Dark Alice that's been helping us out, everybody, and she's sending lives to people, and we're sending lives to her. And, oh, I think Dark Alice might be online right now. And so our club is currently Avitus Velatus AV, named after my original Horde guild in World of Warcraft. And let's see where we're at. I've got 6 lives. We know that could last me at least an hour. We have 1,008 points. We are like basically double the next team. We've never been in that position. So I want to say thank you, subscriber, for joining us and keeping us going. That's amazing. And we're a sapphire, a beautiful blue. You know I love blue. So there we go with that. Now I'm going to go collect the gold I cannot collect in real life. Oh, how I wish I had a Gringotts cave for all my loot. So let's get in there. It's been pretty cheap ever since they changed it to this system, but that's alright. How many gold are we getting today? 80 gold. That's good because whenever I want to finish something, this will let me finish it. So... Oh, did you put a little heart? Did you put a heart? Oh my goodness. We have over 100 subscribers. Oh, I'm not allowed to interact with chat. Maybe I need to be able to. I'll have to learn to sign myself up for that later. So, Gryffindors are second place and Slytherin won. So, oh, it didn't show me getting my stuff, but here's... Okay, I'm going to go do this. Daily puzzle of the day. What would you like to chat about? So are you home now, or are you at work right now looking at us through a cell phone or smartphone? Oh, you must be home because you're making spaghetti sauce. Just let me know when you have to stop for dinner. Do you want me to close the widget because it's annoying, or I should leave it there so that I remember to take care of it later? I'm going to make it skinnier so it's out of our view. Alright. Game widget. Need you to be skinnier. There we go. Okay. So we still have time to chat. You name the topic. And now we'll blubber away. Huh. Oh boy, it's a lag. But we're playing. We're in there. Well, right now I'm crossing every part of my body that could be crossed because I had an interview for a permanent contract. And it seems like the person who interviewed me was actually interested in hiring me, but they haven't been able to find one of my references. And even though I have 2 references that are superintendents, they're not interested in the one I worked for 5 years ago. They want the one that I most recently worked for. Now here's the problem. In this school board, even though the last principal you worked for may not want to be your reference, they're going to call that person as one of your 2 references, even if you don't name them, even though I had 3 other references, and 2 of them from their board, because the very last person you worked for is the one they want to talk to. And this man went on holidays. Now, I know I covered his back as a witness to when he had to take care of a student that was attacking another student. There were certain things that had to happen. He wanted to make sure that he was not going to be sued for or accused of anything inappropriate towards the child who was the attacker, that everything was done professionally and according to our training. And I did that, but further, I had cleared the area and put all the other children back in their homerooms in a good way. So I'm hoping he's going to have my back, because I did write to him to say, hey, you're going to hear from this person. I know that I didn't have a chance to talk to you about being my reference. However, because you were the last person I worked for, they said they're going to contact you anyways. So if you don't mind, please, just know that they're trying to call you. Well, he went away on vacation, and I know he's out on the land somewhere in the East Coast. But if they don't talk to him soon enough, they may pass me over for someone else. And this is the first time someone from this board has honestly considered me, and I want that permanent contract. I put in my dues, and I don't know what I'm going to do. I've been looking for other jobs. I've applied to other, not in my field jobs. No one will give me an interview. But I've had a lot of health issues this year, and I have continued to swim every day and drink my water every day when I'm seated at the computer, except right now I'm having some tea, but I also have my water here too. And I have lost 11 pounds since July the 1st, when I started being able to swim every day for a minimum of an hour. But in some cases I've been swimming 2 to 3 hours, depending on when I get up in the morning. But it does take half the day of your life away. So, I mean, if I had kids or other people in the household, of course I wouldn't be able to do that. And when I'm working full time, I don't have the time to do that. So I'm really looking at right now as my time to really try to correct as much as possible with my health. And so you'll still see me doing the healthcare videos, because, I mean, that's why I started all of this, to share anything I find out in case it can help anyone else, not just me. And that's why the Riddle Me Din Dins, although it was never in my plan, became by accident something that's been kind of important, and also motivating me to be more wary of my choices, because now that I'm having this very small success, I want to keep it going. I don't want it to be just like in the moment and then gain it all back plus more, which we know usually happens when we're dealing with health issues in our weight. So I'm hoping for the best. And then doing my shows, because I've got the time to brainstorm. Honestly, if I don't have another job, I'm slowly getting my house in order. I'm slowly getting things cleaned up and disinfected. Things that I neglect sometimes when I'm busy on the road. It doesn't sound very glamorous, so that's why you're going to hear me say a lot. I talk a lot about having a staycation in the home, whether it's like travel the world through our kitchen or aromatherapy stuff in the DIY projects that I set up my shows. But I do mean it, like, some of us just can't travel. So why not have fun in the way you can from where you are? And I'm trying to do that to motivate me and maybe to motivate others. Oh, yeah. You know what? I keep forgetting, but I like the smell of Pine Sol. I used to always use bleach. And so I've got things vacuumed. I've got things swept. I've been doing more of going through everything. Like, I've gone through my fridge. I've gone through my cupboards. I'm going through my drawers now. My lobby hallway cupboard is all clean. It just feels good. And I've actually taken a lot of pictures off of walls, and I put them all on one. They call it the gallery view, where they're all in one wall making one big square. But I don't look at that wall every day, so it doesn't annoy me. And I go to look at it when I want to see the pictures and think about how pretty they are. And otherwise, I've got all these clearer walls, so the clutter's just in the places where, you know, from the chest down. If that makes sense. But it's helping me feel a little better and more motivated to keep going with just the organization. I mean, it's never ending spring cleaning for me, kind of. But I have been very sick, and for a month I haven't been able to get the mobility to take care of things that now I'm getting in there and taking care of it, and it feels better. And I sort of had a pattern. I'm being much more careful with what I'm choosing to do grocery shopping for as well. But sometimes I still spend more than I should, and it's on food. Maybe a little bit on recreation. I did go to a movie. I'm not interested in too many movies, but because I don't go out and I don't really talk to people much, I'm feeling pretty isolated this summer. And I'm glad I went to the one convention, but because of costs and distances, I don't think I'm going to go to the Toronto one this year, which is a first. I'm pulling back. But they've also pulled back their programming, so for someone like me who's not there with other people and not bringing children, it's really nothing much to do, except I feel like I'm spending money to go spend more money, and I can buy all this stuff online, so unless I'm feeling there's some social aspect for me, I don't want to do it. But this is why I've been motivated to think about that LARPing thing. I think in my health condition, I can't do it, but I wish I had gotten into something like that sooner in life. But I was busy with other stuff. Streamline. You know what? And I'm doing that more and more because, I mean, YouTube has everything, and I have Fibe TV as well. I don't know if you know that one, but that one's with Bell Canada. Other people have Netflix. I'm paying to play World of Warcraft. I do use the Game Gold as much as possible, but every once in a while I'll put some money in to do that for a couple of months, just to so that I'm not always just playing the game just to have the gold to buy more game time, because sometimes you can fall behind in that. But I try to do that as much as possible. Now, other than that, I don't want to take any more courses. I feel like I've been in school forever and I'm so burnt out. And I'm really not interested in reading anything unless it has something to do with research to do my shows. But I am spending a lot more time than maybe I should sitting to do my shows, because even a 5-second thing may take me like an hour if I'm arranging the sound effects in the backgrounds and putting binaural beats inside of it, depending on the length of them. But I really am working like this. VTubing actually has become like a second job, although I'm not getting any pay for it right now. But with them changing, you only need 500 subscribers now to monetize to a certain degree. I need that. I'm hoping for that goal. So we're at 104 subscribers. We gained a new person. I don't even know who it is. Someone joined after Persona did. I find that after every 2 or 3 days of creating scripts and or producing the videos that I'm putting online, because making the scripts themselves, I mean, I brainstormed so much in the past 2 days, but that could take hours and hours. And then, but that's why the swimming has become so important to me, to keep moving, to make sure I keep moving, a minimum of an hour a day, but I won't lose weight unless I'm doing 2 or more hours a day. That's what I've learned about my body. I'm excited about so many things I brainstormed that I've come to the conclusion I don't have enough time to do it all. And certainly, again, once the jobs pick up in the fall, I won't have the time to do it. So this month has become the manufacturing month for me. And I feel good about it. Like, I want to do the funny things. Like, I want to be a Sagittarius. I want to be like, because in the World of Warcraft, we do have characters that are I forget what they call them, but like the Sagittarian people. What are they called? Charon, and they're in Harry Potter too. The Horseman people. My goodness, I can't remember their names, and I don't know, but I'm gonna become one at least for one episode to honor the horse day. But I originally wanted to do a couple of episodes the way I did with the mermaids, using them as the centaurs. That's what I'm saying. The centaurs. I want to be a centaur for a couple episodes. I do want to be a mermaid again. I'm gonna dedicate August to mermaid stuff. Um, September is gonna be to our New Zealander subscriber friends, like intrepids, centaurs. Yeah, that's it. Um, just because of how the food is traveling me around. I'm trying to use the summer's food stuff for honoring my subscribers that come from all over the world, to the countries that the analytics are telling me that they're viewing from. But I am ending up going back to Vietnam again, mixing in a little bit of India with the Vietnam stuff, just because of how some of the recipes fell. There's so much coming up with the food stuff, and yet the thing I started out doing is the thing that I'm so far on the back burners. There are episodes I actually created that will be interactive for you, like choose your own adventure stories. I figured out a way to do that, and I don't think I ever finished and posted any of them. So there's gonna be some different playful stuff coming out there. Also, I always wanted to be able to use, I don't know if you know, but in my day job, I make a lot of these slide decks, which are DPA for kids, to motivate them to exercise indoors when we can't go outside, as a brain break from regular activities. I'll put it in transition times, or when they're stuck indoors for recess. And so I thought, well, since I've become very good at collecting them, I want to make them. And so far, because my avatar is very limited, I tried to do the seated eye exercises and the seated face exercises. I don't know how well any of that went over, but I made one about dodgeball for your eyeballs. I don't know if you saw it. I'm so upset that the sound effects were so bad, and yet I posted it anyways. No response from anyone about it, and I hate that. There are a lot of episodes I really want to recast so that the sound is right. And I'm trying very hard to use contrast and fillers and stuff to try to offset the fact that my avatar looks great in the videos when I'm producing them from my screen, but then when I see them go live, they're so faded out, like it's an old cartoon script or something, and I don't understand. But I've learned why. But if my system that I'm using in order to build my videos can't do the thing that I need to do to offset that problem, then I'm just kind of stuck with some bad fade out videos, which I hate. But what am I gonna do? I do have limits, and I can't invest any more of real money into this. I did invest a lot to have a rig character, so I could flip my hair and smell at you, hee, and look grim, and go mom nom nom nom. But I can't do anything with my arms. Like, I wanted to be able to salute people, not like Hitler, just a salute like we do in the game. I've given that up. I was supposed to have little tiny fangs. I don't have my fangs. My ears, I do have elven ears. I don't know if you've ever noticed that, but they're so little and dainty that nobody sees them under all my glorious hair. So, I don't know. My wish list is for what I wish I could do, and my ability to grow and learn, it's still there, but boy do I wish I could pump out better quality stuff. My scripts are going to be my scripts, but I mean that the visual and the audio will be better for you. I really want to fix that if I can, and I'm struggling with that right now, but I'm playing around with stuff. Yeah. And as far as the Game Adventures Club I'm going to, I think you notice these? Oh yay, I'm glad you saw the ears. I'm just glad I learned how to change my clothing so I don't always look the same all the time. But I do think I have to do more things that remember that my character is a mercenary and a warrior, because she came from the gaming world side of things. So if you notice my most recent script, if you get the time, check out my playlist for the last Riddle Me This that I did, it's not a 3-part for a dinner. It's under the self-care section of my playlist because, which is where it all began from. And it looks like I'm like dressed as a Viking. I put little Viking tattoos on myself. And when I don't have a shirt, I can tattoo myself. I've learned how to do this now. And so I've role played the DIY Riddle Me This into getting the thing that is your present. So I think that's good, and I should have done that from the beginning, but my realizations come slowly to me sometimes. But I actually really like that one. That came out in the last day or two. But I'm right now I'm trying to pre-script enough that if I can get ahead of it, have something for every day this month, because the Google, YouTube, analytic computer things are really not showing my stuff. That's what I've come to learn about the analytical thing. I used to show like 32,000 thumbnails to suggest to people to look at my stuff, and that's when I was hitting the 1,000 views in a day. And it only did it for about 2 weeks, and then it never did it again. And as I'm playing around with this, I'm realizing that's also in a time when I was pumping at least one thing out every day, but sometimes as many as 3. And if I'm going to do that, this is a month that I can do it. If I get the job that I applied for, if I get some good news this week coming up, because I had no good news this week, I'm really hoping they can find that second person, or be willing to talk to the person that I worked for 5 years ago before I joined their board, because it's a superintendent, but we'll see. I'm just hoping that it works out. Then I would be back to work in the middle of August, so got to pump out everything that I can right now. And I start my day going to the gym. If I'm not online live, I'm going to the gym at the end of day as well, so that I don't feel as guilty about sitting so much, and I give myself little errands to do, so that I'm not just sitting. And I get up, I've been organizing little things at a time, little spaces at a time, so that I don't feel overwhelmed, but at least seeing the little spaces done got me more motivated to get the next little space done. So I found that when you're thinking about like your accomplishments, if you look at it in a different way, look, any one drawer reorganized is clean, that's accomplished. And just be happy, be proud of it. All right. All right, Tisha, thank you for popping in today. Thank you for trying out the widget with me. It's always good to have someone test run it. Thank you for all your feedback, and have a wonderful night's sleep. So I'm going to just switch to my sleepy voice, hoping to help Tisha fall asleep. So I'm just going to finish off this round of the game, and then I'm going to log out as well. And I'm just channeling myself today. I really love this game. And I will be back, not live tomorrow, but I'll be back live on Sunday night for Dragonflight Follies. I have made sure that I have posted these things in advance, so that you guys have in the community tab my schedule to show you when I'm going live in the weeks ahead. I've got to update it soon, but for now what's in there is accurate. And no guild meeting this week. Instead, I'm going to have a break, take care of my physical world, get my household in order, and get some more of my scripts pumped out. Because I'm very excited to want to keep up with my own ideas. Also, since this year is going to be a year without any kind of vacations out of town or out of country, Not sure if I'll end up LARPing or not this year, but it would be a nice thing to have a story to tell. I do like being the person people know that have a story to tell. At least I can be entertaining. But here we go. I'm going to make it one of my goals on Saturday to figure out how this widget is going to work for us. And then once I know what the mystery is, I'll make a little how-to tape for the rest of us so everybody can try it out the next time they're online with me. I don't know the name of the person who is our most recent joiner, but I want to welcome you, whoever you are, to our community. You are now one of my lovely M-Souls, and I'd like you to try to reach out or leave comments somewhere attached to one of the episodes. Let me know what type of video or what type of show that I'm making were you most interested in? What convinced you to join us? And what would you like to hear or see more of? And if you're a friend to anyone else who's already a subscriber here, let me know who, so I can keep you both happy. Thank you for joining us. Of course, my goals in starting all of this is to promote health for everyone and to be the cheerleader for you that maybe you don't have from anywhere else. I know what that's like, and so I'm here for you. I'm in your corner. I'm your fan. I'm cheering for you and hoping that the best of life that you can have will be yours. And if you're not sure what that is, please experiment. And have fun. Have fun discovering. And if you feel like you've done it all, figure out what the new frontier will be for you and go have fun trying that out too. Why not? Anyways, there's no one here to stop me to say anything I want, so I'm just gonna blurb away. That's okay. Also, rank for me, everybody, whether or not you like the choice of story. Hero Flame, I definitely want to hear from you. Did you like the eerie story that I told tonight? This was one I chose, inspired by one of your requests, to have a story on the water. And I wonder if that's the type of story you like. So let me know. Oh, bummer. I'm out of moves. Let me see. I still have 2 lives left. I think I'd rather spend them playing Quidditch. Wow, we're 1,960 points. And the other team hasn't logged in today. Oh well, good job MVP, Dina Curran. As for me, I just like to at least get on the board, because if I'm one of 3 people who logs in that week, I get a prize no matter what. So to me, that's a more economical use of my time. And the same, I feel, I do the same thing when it comes to that spider game. As long as I've got the points to get me on the board, I'm one of the top 3, because it seems that we only get 3 or 4 people at a time in a week. There's a pretty good chance if you're at least made it on the board and won 1 game, you get a prize of some kind, which will be helpful either way. I do find these jerky around basketballs really annoying. I feel like I can feel the pounding of the ball when it hits that little circle up at the top. I don't know why I feel like I can feel it vibrate when it hits, but that's how I feel. So that's why I get annoyed. I want that golden snitch. Come on, don't move. Okay, we got you. Yes. I love hitting the golden snitch. And that is the extent of our budget for sound effects. So sorry, but you're going to hear that a few times in my most latest round of videos. I've been adding my own sound effects. Doo doo doo. Yeah, I do feel like I feel it when they're hitting that area and bouncing. Okay. Take every free turn that I can. What I like is Fred here drops that same crisscross lightning bolt that his dad does. So that's pretty helpful. Oh no, they got moved away from each other. Oh no. I don't have 900 gold coins. The competitive side of me is swearing in my head right now. But you don't need to hear that. You just need to hear that you are safe, and you are loved, and you are good to fall asleep and go unconscious right now. Oh, I have no more lives. The little golden snitch is taunting me. And it's time for me to move on. One life left. Let's spend it on the daily club puzzle because it's worth 21 points. And every trophy we get is what keeps us in the lead against other groups for the weekly treasure chests. So let's go for that treasure. There we go. There we go again. Here we go again. Ba-boom. Do 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 do. Bum bum bum. I love it when that broom goes flying off. Can you please take care of my house before you go? Alright, maybe not. I do like bombing things. Sometimes I don't know what color gem to pick. No. There's always something more to do in a video game. It's how it sucks you in. So I should be all out of heart health now. I am. I've already cashed out the life that someone sent me today. So, oh, the professors are done with me for the weekend? That's right, it's a Saturday. I have nothing more I can do for Quidditch, but listen, we're at 1,960 points against 0 points. So even if their whole guild woke up, if they can't get on the board, we have 3 hours and 56 minutes, so 4 hours from now will be 4 in the morning. So unless that team lives on the west coast, we might be good for a win. I'm hoping so. Alright, That's the end of that. Let's go to the main board here. Look, a fortune. It's teasing me. I don't want to spend money. Not real money anyways. Oh, I get puzzles on the start. I'm now at level 2,690. Who knew? Alright. Everything is done for the night. So, my subscribers, I don't know how the widget works, but I will find out, and it's one of my new impromptu goals to figure out how we can play tic-tac-toe while I ramble in your ear. Tish Adams, if you're out there, I hope you have fallen deep asleep. If you're in that stage of suggestiveness, when you wake up, make a power ball. When you wake up, make a power ball. When you wake up, make a power ball. Let's see how that translates tomorrow morning for you. Sneaky deaky. Venus Kalita here, signing off on an unusual but fun tuck in and chill. Thanks Tish Adams for coming out to tuck in and chill with me. Sleep well, and if you miss my voice, don't forget we have a playlist of Getting Some Sleep with V&M Soul. Have a wonderful evening. I hope that tomato sauce turned out scrumptious. You've now got me thinking about making spaghetti tomorrow. Bon appetit, sleep tight, and everybody, I am raising my cup of black tea with milk and red bean, oh so sweet red bean, to your health and mine. Make choices that are kind to yourself. Make choices that give yourself rest. Make choices that show you respect, care, and love for yourself. And if you're feeling shaky on any of that, remember that I'm out here in your corner cheering for you. Somebody's got to tell you, you're worth it. Take care, everyone. Good night, or I should say, good morning, good early morning. Get some sleep. This is Venus Kalita, signing off.
Women. Here, we get to be who we are, be complicated, be imperfect.
professional logo that best reflects your brand. Just go to